Via Lorimer was a genuine eccentric. I think every actor in the business has worked with him at some time or another, and we all have our stories about him. And he was an innocent in many ways, because he didn't realize quite what he was saying half the time, and used to, well, he didn't upset people because of who he was. But he used to get things wrong. For example, in one particular rehearsal, we were doing it, and we had what was called a producer's run of the scenes that we were going to shoot. And David Maloney, the producer, came in, and Via said, "Now what happens at the end here?" He says, "Is I have a two-shot of Blake and Avon, and Blake says something, and the cynical Avon says, huh, and then drops out of shot, and then we have a big close-up of Blake, and up come the titles, Blake, Gareth Hunt." You see? He always got everybody's name. The only person he knew was me. He would call Jenna Jennifer and Callie Sally. Now, Jenna was played by Sally, so it got very confusing. And he would do all the stunts for you. And he showed me how to do a stunt once. And he said, "What you do is this." And the man was in his 60s, and he rolled down a hill and then got up, and he was covered in muck. And he said, "You will do that." He said, "But being Avon, you will not fall in a cowpat." Yes.
Now then, about the new series, you want to know what's going to come next. Have you told them all about this? Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
No, I haven't really.
Right. Well, in our new series, boys and girls, we had to think now. They are boys and girls, aren't they?
Of course they are.
Boys and girls of half-time, of course, naturally.
You're saying it was my 40th?
It was your 40th?
Are you sure it wasn't my 30th?
Oh, maybe it was.
Maybe it was.
Okay, you tell
yeah.
me then.
Yeah, no, it was my birthday on a particular convention, yes. And you've reminded me that it was in Holborn. And I think they brought on a cake for me, which was very kind.
Does this work? Oh, yes, it does. Thank you very much. This is lovely. I'm rather afraid to cut it because it might explode. It's anything to do with our special effects boys, it probably will. I mean, everybody should have a bit, shouldn't they, Jack?
What, darling?
Everybody should have a bit, yes.
Well, I have.
American conventions, they ask you to sell something for charity. People bid for it. And Terry and I were at a particular convention, Terry Nation, and somebody said, "Oh, I'd like to buy Terry's tie." And they bid for it. And they bid to have breakfast with you or whatever, you know. And mind you, the money goes to charity, which is fine. Well, obviously there were various charities that asked us to do something for them. The one to which we were referring, we walked over the bridge in our costumes, was for Bernardo's. And we had a lot of children there, which is great, as we're getting now. And that was fun, and it was cold. I remember it was cold. But talking about leather earlier on, I had the leather, so I was fine. Well, it's been done, really, hasn't it? The movie Serenity is a little bit, in fact, a lot like Blake Sutton, which was, I think it was called Firefly originally, the series. Very good. Serenity is a very good picture. Plug that one now. Yes. So I think that's your Blake 7 of today. So I suspect that it wouldn't come back. Terry Nation's plan for a revival, he wanted to do a mini-series, sort of 2-3 episodes, you know, of an hour or 2 hours or whatever, to finish it all off. That's what he wanted. Not necessarily another series, but a mini-series. And the idea was that Avon was still alive and had been dumped on some planet. So it's kind of like Napoleon being dumped on Elba. And 20 years later, they're going, "Oh, well, we got rid of all the bad guys, the dissidents." And then somebody says, "Hang on, this Avon character, we didn't kill him." And they said, "Well, we better do something about it." So Ingo the SAS or whatever, to take him out, and this him off. And so he goes into the equivalent of Napoleon's last 100 days and dies.
Really?
Yes. Terry Nation was a great guy, terrific guy, lovely man, laid back, cool, very, very bright, of course. And we were on a wavelength, we just hit it off. We spoke together initially in a reserved way because we didn't know each other. And then we got an award. He got an award as a writer and I got an award as an actor in science fiction. And we met at length then, became very friendly and communicated for quite a while. And then I would go over and stay, and as I said earlier, we sort of became one of the family, and he was a terrific guy. We had a lot of fun together. He always used to think I was a kid, you see, because we would go to, for example, we went to the Beverly Hills Hotel. You've got to, haven't you? And there's the red carpet. And Terry said, well, we'll park down here, he said. And I said, but I want to go up the red carpet. And he said, yeah, but that costs an extra $5. I've got a tip. And I said, but I want to go up the red carpet. And he said, oh, okay. So he had to go up the red carpet. He paid the extra $5. And then he said, what do you want to do today? And I said, I want to go down to Man's Chinese, you know, and put my feet in Humphrey Bogart's thing. He said, you're just a kid, aren't you? And I loved it. You see, he was very kind to me. The whole family were. And we had a lovely time, and he wrote one of the most wonderful roles for me. What he could do, which a lot of writers can't. I don't mean to be offensive, but a lot of writers can't do it. Is to actually go with the flow of the performer that you've got. And he did that with me. You see, as I said earlier on, he said I would do something. He said you constantly surprise me, so I'd give you something else. So in other words, we were working together without really knowing it, as it were. And that's what he was good at. He could see what could be done and gave you the opportunity to do it. Simple as that, really. And that's rare. And I always felt that it was a great pity that we didn't do the mini-series. And sadly he's dead now, because he could have written it, and I think it would have been a cracker. I really did. Was it worth it?
Was it all worth it?
Worth it in so much as it was extraordinarily enjoyable to do. I think there was a terrific chemistry between the cast, which contributes to its success. I've been around the world. I made a lot of friends, not just in the business, but friends who were fans, as it were, and I've had a whale of a time. It is a double-edged sword to a certain extent, in so much as it cuts you, good analogy, isn't it? Cuts you out of certain roles because people don't imagine you can do anything else, because there is a lack of imagination sometimes among some directors, not you, of course, and that can happen. But generally speaking, I've done all right. As Walter Matthau said when he collapsed on the set and Jack Lemmon rushed over and said, Walter, are you all right? He opened one eye and said, I make a living. Yeah. I might wander off with this. I can make a few bob. Yes, go on. Yeah, okay. See you. The thing about Avon's smile, we were talking earlier about did I steal anything from the movies. I stole from Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen rarely smiled. If you see The Great Escape, for example, he rarely smiles. And he gets to a particular point and turns around to Richard Attenborough and says, you're 50 feet short, and smiles at a moment of disaster. So I pinched that from him. Thank you, Steve. And so at a moment of disaster, he smiled. And what is the justification for that? It's irony. For example, Avon wants the Liberator, it blows up just as he's about to get it. What do? You smile, don't you? You smile. And the same right at the end, when he levels the gun, Mary said to me, what do you want to do? And I said, I think he'd bring the gun up and he'd smile. And she said, all right, I'll do the jump, which I love, the jump cut, boom, boom, boom. And then he goes, and there's the smile. And he goes. How's that?
Beautiful, yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. How did that look to you? Did we get it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. That's excellent. We can have a coffee break.
Thank you for a wonderful day's work. Do my Victor Mature.